Is that your
That's my
girl?
girlfriend. That is my girlfriend. I don't mean to be rude, but I don't think that you're the one she's subscribing for.
Oh, that's fine. I only keep you around for the sex appeal. No.
Thank you. I have a lot of that.
Why is this not connecting? What the fuck is going on with this?
Be calm.
Oh.
Experience
Can you
learning
guys see
from.
us?
Am I live?
I don't know. This is weird. Yes, it is. Appears that we are live. What?
Cool.
All right, Streamlabs. Connecting. What the fuck is going on? All right, Streamlabs. Whatever. I don't care. All right, folks. I'm gonna go to the starting soon thing because I need to still set up a few things because it's freaking YouTube and Streamlabs were not cooperating. Be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Read RWBY Before the Dawn. I am your host, Raymond McNeil of Celtic Phoenix Productions, and I hope you'll be having a good time joining us today, reading through chapters 4 and 5, and possibly 6 if we can manage it. Here's my co-host, Molly Rhymemaster. Molly, if you will.
That's me. I don't have much of an introduction.
And I don't have much of an accent anymore with that. I still have an accent, but I mean, different accent.
Your other pretend accent. Let's go.
Why is it showing me the frickin' closed captions? I don't need those. Garbage closed captions.
Guys, I finally got myself like any respectable equipment. I have a 1080p camera.
Yes. God, that was a headache and a half to get running. You have no idea, because like normally you set things up on the Streamlabs. You set things up on YouTube and then on Streamlabs, and then the two kind of meet in the middle. But for whatever reason, just I had to start raw from just Streamlabs, and it wouldn't let me set up any. It was a pain in the rear. And no, Elysian Empire, there is more than 10 chapters. Oh Lord, there is more than 10 chapters.
Aren't there like 20?
It's like 23. Let me see if I can reload this. And freaking...
By the way, yeah, I have to say, getting set up is hard. I needed to get the sunglasses. I needed to get the rulers because I didn't get the bunny ears. I had to practice my awful Australian accent. Apologies to any Australians in chat.
No, don't apologize. They deserve it. They're Australian.
What did they do?
Inverse reality. They live upside down. That's not natural, Molly.
You see, if I was answering, I'd be more upset at their wildlife.
Okay, pop out chat.
I like the shells that when you pick them up, they kill you.
Wait, what?
You ever heard of a cone shell?
No.
Or cone snail?
No,
when they feel threatened, they like sting you with a barb, and some species it can be like a lethal neurotoxin.
We have released the deadly neurotoxin.
But it looks super pretty, and you want to pick it up. You just shouldn't.
I mean, that's why I've resolved never go to Australia. I just don't know what I can and cannot touch without dying.
Have you ever heard of a lyrebird?
No, but please do inform me.
Oh no, it's not like freaky or anything. It's just it's a bird that's ultra good at mimicking things. There's a great David Attenborough bit on it on YouTube you could look up.
I was gonna say, that name reminds me of there's a monster in... You watched Made in Abyss, didn't you?
Yes, with a very, very unfortunate person to watch it with me. You know those people that, like, they watch something with you and they're like, bro, this part, bro, yo, you're not
yeah,
bro, this...
yeah,
and
yeah.
That made it.
I forgot that was your experience. I think the movie is available somehow through certain means. We should probably track that down. It'd be fun to watch. But I was gonna say it reminds me of that bird. I remember because the one that like uses its tongue to reach into people's organs and then have them scream for help. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
That is just freaky as hell.
That show was freaky.
God, I love it. All right. We currently have 32 people in the chat, so I think that's a good enough time to get started.
Release the cone snail.
Release the cone snail!
They're like this big. They're not like they range, but they're usually about this big.
All right, here we go. Well, actually, I keep forgetting to do this because every single chapter has a little silhouette, and I need to find where is chapter 4. I want to see whose silhouette it is. It's probably Fox if the starting thing is Fox. Yep, the silhouette. You can make it out on this is good old Bud Boy Fox, who's going to be interesting because he can't actually see things. So I wonder how the description... I can't remember how the description works for him. I think they just deal with normal description, but I'm not sure. Fox crouched on the low rooftop beside Coco, thinking there were better things he could be doing than staking out a gambling house, thinking there were better people for the job than the blind guy. But Coco had insisted, and Fox trusted her instincts. Coco knew that Fox was capable of, and how boring this assignment would be for him, so she must have had a good reason for dragging him along. Unless he'd done something to get on her bad side. Did I do something to annoy you? Fox sent. Lately?
No. Why do you ask?
Coco sent back. Team Sin just joined us, and now they get to do all the fun stuff, Fox sent. With Team Sin joining Team Coffee for the first time on one of their nocturnal patrols of the city, Coco had changed up their strategy a bit. There was a little debate from Sun and Scarlet, but as usual, Coco got her way. And so Sun and Neptune were making the rounds of the downtown hotspots, which was a generous description for the clubs and restaurants that entertained the locals at night. That had been Fox's favorite beat because it kept him moving, not sitting around waiting for something to happen.
Sun knows this city better than anyone,
Coco sent.
He's the best person for the job. You know, the sunglasses really just put a different mood on it.
It's called tint. I could have gone with him instead of Neptune.
You're looking for some quality time with Sun?
Coco asked. No, but I'd rather be doing something, and someone needs to keep an eye on him, so to speak.
But then who would watch Neptune?
Coco asked. You've got me there. I wouldn't want... you've got me there. I wouldn't want that job, Fox had to admit. So wait, Neptune is worse to keep track of?
I believe it.
It's because he's always trying to get in the lady's pants, isn't he? Like the biggest...
Yeah,
the biggest scare from him is him catching, like, the clap.
Yeah, I'm just assuming that Coco always talks like she's in some sort of drama film. Like, no matter the situation, so she's like...
Someone reminded me. I need to put on music. Where is... No, I don't need the Crab Warden. It's a good song, but it's not really fitting for what we need right now. There we go. Hollow Skies. Pleasant. Where were we? You've got me. I wouldn't want that to Fox admit. So you don't trust... did you read that?
So... You don't trust Sun?
Coco
like she's
asked.
just constantly in a film noir.
Yeah! Fox wasn't sure where he stood on that question. I don't know Sun yet. Not really. I guess I don't trust Team Sin to not mess things up for us. They're sloppy and off balance right now. Coco sighed.
I agree with you there. They have some stuff to work through. But then again, most teams do. Anyway, we'll see how it goes tonight.
She sent.
By the way, remember, everybody, this is all happening telepathically, so any, like, gestures I'm making, picture, like, you're in a coffee shop, and somebody in the next booth over is just like... and then the other person's like...
I mean, you never really think about how, like, a telepathic conversation would look from the outside. You're always, like, in the person's... But, like, just people doing...
You know that Vine where it's, like, the guy's, like, holding food, and he's like... It's just that. I mean, it's like those, like, really bad NPCs that you see in some video games that don't actually make any sound while they're having a conversation. So you see a bunch of... Dude, the Sonic 06 NPCs?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I gotta turn on a light here. That's better. You didn't split up Scarlet and Sage either, Fox observed. The other half of Team Sin was guarding the wall that separated the rest of the city from Shade's campus. Scarlet had insisted that if the Crown was going after people with powerful semblances, they would eventually be moving on to the Academy, which had the highest concentration of people with powerful semblances for miles around. Though Scarlet didn't venture to guess as to whether it would be a little disappearances spread out over time or one big coordinated attack. The tension in Coco's voice told Fox she was scowling.
Yeah, Lumi's mentioning, like, imagine seeing their expressions change. So, again, imagine you're in a coffee shop, and then And then, and then Coco's just like, to nothing. But, like, she has sunglasses on indoors, so she's like, it's what Scarlet wanted. He's determined to protect Shade Academy. Maybe a little too zealous about him. But that doesn't mean he's wrong. If we don't want them to get in our way, or worse, raise a big enough stink that we can't continue our investigation, it's better to keep them involved in a limited capacity. Plus, I don't think it's a good idea to put Scarlet anywhere near Sun right now. Not after the scene they made together.
Fair, and conveniently enough, this way you don't have to break up our team or mix them in us.
If you already know all the answers, why do you bother asking?
To pass the time. So why are Velva and Yatsuhashi on the Grimwatch? Fox sent. Did they do something to annoy you? Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that was not dialogue. Grimwatch was the duty of low-rent huntsmen who worked loosely with law enforcement to help keep the peace.
Hey!
We could have parsed that from the dialogue of it being like an undesirable job, but I like it when things are told directly to me, like it's a Kotaro Uchikoshi game, and I need to understand like every quantum theorem to get the game's plot. But
it's further reinforcement of the fact that like I called how Hunters operated. Well, a lot of people called how Hunters operated long before the show decided to actually explain how Hunters operated. Yeah,
I know, it's me. There's been a rise in incidents of Grim wandering into the city lately.
Coco-san.
Nothing that isn't handled quickly before the attacks escalate, but more than usual.
How do you know that? Fox asked. He hadn't heard a word about it.
Thank you. We also could have understood from his question that he hadn't heard about it. What is this writing?
I don't know. Like, in frankness, he has been asking questions that he knows the answer to this entire time to make conversation. So, it's you.
Professor Rampold requested reports from the sheriff on recent police and huntsman activities.
So how do you know that? Fox asked.
Coco laughed in the middle of a coffee shop booth with people watching and not knowing what she's laughing at. Ha! I snuck into her office.
Coco? Fox said.
Don't lecture me, Fox.
Fox smiled. How dare you do that without inviting me? He said. What were you looking for?
Anything she had dug up on the crown.
Coco explained.
I didn't find anything, but she had left the report on Grim activity out on her desk, plus a list of missing person cases linked to a club in the Pits.
Sounds like a lovely Putter tone. It was kind of odd for a nightclub to pop up in the old district locals referred to as the Pits, because of all the sandpits and traps that could grab someone who didn't watch. Because of all the sandpits and traps that could grab someone who didn't watch where they were going.
So it's just a literal nickname?
So literally there's a part of your city where people can just get swallowed by the ground.
Have you ever been to Queens? It's the same thing, okay? It's just like that there. But no, in all seriousness, why would you build a city?
Why does anyone live in Vacuo? Why? This is a miserable place.
Like, have you ever seen a density map of the Sahara Desert? Nobody lives in the Sahara Desert. It's miserable. Except for some, like, small villages near oases and, like, some nomadic groups. Like, nobody lives in gigantic deserts. No one lives in the outback except in Alice Springs. Population, nothing. Like,
Alice Springs
people don't
chicken
like
from
deserts.
Outback Steakhouse.
Not
Sorry.
Outback Steakhouse.
Sorry, I'm hungry. The girl at the wall mentioned a club, Fox said. I don't get why you're worried about Grim, though.
Because either there have been too many for regular huntsmen to handle, or the huntsmen aren't doing their job. Something's changed in the last few months, and hold on, someone's coming out.
The door of the gambling house opened, and then raucous sounds of laughter invaded the quiet night.
2 people are leaving. A faunus male and a woman, wearing a truly horrific ensemble.
Coco sent. This is also a woman.
Not your night.
Fox overheard the woman say.
Better luck next time.
But how am I gonna eat? The man responded as they moved out of earshot. Nothing about them seemed suspicious. You were saying? Fox asked.
Them. L.
About why Velva and Yatsuhashi are watching for Grimm.
Right. They aren't only watching for Grimm. I've been thinking.
Always dangerous, Fox interrupted.
Huh. I've been thinking that the Crown may not be operating in the city itself. It would make sense to set up their base of operations nearby, but not directly under the nose of Headmaster Theodore.
That's not an idea, it's a guess, Fox noted.
When you don't have enough information, a guess is the best you've got, and I'm rarely wrong. She really does think she's in a film noir.
Yeah. Which brings me back to why we're here and why me in particular, Fox began. If the others
grayscale this camera.
Yeah. You know what? I don't want to do that for the whole thing, because like that's
just
like, what?
Do it while I'm Coco.
If I could flicker that. Yeah, I could probably create like a semi-transparent like thing. I could just flicker on and off and just like click it when you're Coco.
That'd be amazing. And like just like jazz music that flickers on and off. You know, like the classic like Yu-Gi-Oh bridge to like every time, who was it that spoke?
Oh, what was his name? Dungeon Dice.
Like this one guy, every time he spoke, it just played the beat to "Sexy Back."
Yeah, it's like,
and like no matter how short his dialogue was.
Like, dude, is that like Dungeon Dice Monsters?
Yeah, that guy. That's Coco, but it's just smooth jazz.
Where were we? Which bring the Crown. I'm stuck here again. Which brings it back to why we're here and why me in particular, Fox began. I keep fluctuating with his voice. I don't know where I'm landing with it.
Because you're a great conversationalist when you don't want to make any noise.
Coco send.
This would be way more boring for me if I didn't have someone to talk to. And we're here because if the huntsmen aren't watching for Grimm, then what are they doing?
Gambling? Fox nodded to the club.
Damn.
Nothing much happened in Vacuo. Everyone just constantly dies in Vacuo. Yeah. What do you mean nothing happens?
People constantly go missing. It's like
there is
nothing
literally a
Detroit.
Sinkhole. There are several sinkholes in the middle of this goddamn city. Why does anyone live here? It's both boring and deadly. It's like, what's the point? Nothing much happened in Vacuo. Nothing much happened, and when there was an argument or a crime, people tended to sort things out on their own with their fists. Okay, that improves my opinion of it. But when it came to Grimm, Vacuans depended on huntsmen to fight their battles for them. Isn't that just everyone? It's literally everyone. Like, I guess
everyone in this world.
Atlas technically has its military, but those are technically their huntsmen too. So I mean,
someone says that there's a long lag time of maybe 15 to 20 seconds. I don't know anything about streaming. Is that bad?
I've tried to reduce latency. I have no idea. Like, that's one of the things I was worried about because like I can't access the settings on YouTube side, so that might just be a YouTube issue. So let's see.
Jazz music while someone dies in a sinkhole.
Wait, what?
That's what the comments. Someone goes jazz music while someone dies in a sinkhole.
It's like a video game over screen, just like Mario sinks down. Ba-da-da, da-da-da-da.
Continue. Yes, return to title.
Any large gathering of people, whether a temporary settlement like most of the ones in Vacuo, or a village or a major city, as in the one major city that we know about in Vacuo, naturally drew Grimm on a regular basis. But between shade students on training missions and hired huntsmen on guard duty, it was rare for a Grimm to cross into the city. Almost as rare as Coco's instincts being wrong. So that's why Theodore's been sending more students out lately, clearing the immediate area of Grimm, Fox sent. Maybe the huntsmen are getting lazy. The door below them opened again. Coco and Fox stilled, listening. Don't you worry. We'll get you home, a man said in a... Oh, don't you worry. We'll get you home, a man said in a deep voice. We're trained huntsmen, the best in the city, came a second man.
Why'd you give him Armin voice?
What?
You gave him Armin voice.
Aridin? Who?
Armin.
Armin? Oh, I don't know. I don't know those
like
characters. Let's see.
That chick did
We're
that.
trained
Anyway,
huntsmen,
go on.
the best in the city, came a second man. I don't know, said a third man. I think I can manage on my own. I always have.
These guys are so fucked.
I'd be careful if I were you, the first speaker noted. A number of people watched you leave with your winnings, and sometimes bad things happen on the way home. I'd sure feel bad for you. I sure feel better seeing you there safely, and you can certainly afford our reasonable rates tonight, the second man said. Okay. Well, okay. The third man gave up and went with them. Is there... Go.
Three males. One short with a green tank top and cargo shorts. His partner is taller, a faunus with pig ears.
She said. Fox was glad they were using TeamSpeak. With ears like that, a faunus... a faunus would...
I just like that she calls it that.
I think it's a great name for it, actually. A faunus would definitely have heard them whispering.
So there are huntsmen.
She went on.
The person they're protecting is average height, definitely not a fighter. Vacuum head covering and loose clothes. No weapon I can see. A merchant, maybe.
Danger all the way down. Like that's like she walked into my office. And she had legs that spoke of danger.
Fragrance of dark coffee looking at it, sounding at it.
Is that what you're playing?
No, it's just like generic, like no copyright.
There is like 3 official versions of Fragrance of Dark Coffee, but like all official jazz versions. Like that song is amazing.
Song.
This doesn't feel right, Fox sent.
Agreed. These huntsmen already paid to protect the city from Grimm, not to escort private citizens home with their winnings. So, let's follow them.
Coco and Fox waited until there was some distance between them and the group, then dropped down silently to the sand. They crept after the trio. Should I update the others? Fox sent.
Not until we have a situation.
They followed quietly, Coco in the lead. Fox concentrating on the group they were following and drew in a sharp breath. Coco elbowed him.
Shh, what?
2 of these guys have a lot of aura, Fox sent. Basically off the charts.
The huntsman, I bet.
Coco said.
Flanking the guy in the middle?
Right. Their auras are weird, so vivid I can see them. And they're the same color.
Is that unusual?
Ours are usually more unique, but these seem identical.
Guys, the blind guy can see aura. That's so Guys, remember Avatar? Remember Toph and how she could see without seeing?
Hey, look,
and
I like Fox. I do kind of like the trope of the blind asshole. It's a good trope.
No, the blind asshole isn't the trope I'm talking about. It's the fact that he can see what others cannot, even without his eyes. It's like, bro, I'm so tired.
Fox and Coco continued to tail the 2 huntsmen in their charge. Wait, this isn't the way to my house, the merchant said. We should have turned left back there. I'm going to switch the voices. The merchant guy is going to get the frickin' Krillin voice. Wait, this isn't the way to my house, the merchant said. We should have turned left back there. This is a shortcut, the tall huntsman said. No, it isn't, the merchant said nervously. Thank you, but no thank you. Here's some lien for your trouble, but I can take things from here. Not so fast, the tall huntsman said. We don't want your money. What do you think they're, What do you think you're... Fox heard them struggling. Get off me! Let me go! The merchant was fighting them off. You're coming
I like how you
with
just
us.
gave him the best voice.
You're coming with us, the short huntsman said after a scuffle. I'll pay you more if you want. Here, take everything, the merchant insisted. We don't want your money. We want you. This
now
book...
we have a situation.
This book, I think is about to change genres, guys. Coco sent rushing ahead of Fox.
Louder LA noir music.
This is still Coco.
Yeah. Alert the others. Call in Sun and Neptune.
Fox wasn't sure Velvet, Yatsuhashi, Scarlet, and Sage were in range of his TeamSpeak, but he broadcast wide to everyone anyway. We have a situation, Fox sent. What was that? Fox sent back? Hello? It sounded like Fox. Neptune returned loudly. What are you doing in my head? Calm down, it's just TeamSpeak, Fox sent. Since when can you do that? Sun asked. Why did you not inform them he could do this, guys?
Guys, surprise everyone.
Yeah, like, hey guys, if we get into trouble, I will contact you via telepathy. Like, and just be like, explain it then. Why are you explaining it now? Velvet jumped in.
I like the person who says, imagine Coco on accident sometimes plays different music besides jazz. I can see that. Like, she's like, she's just like, she's like, okay guys, we have, oh shit, wait. Anyway, like I was saying, and it was like the jazz keeps playing. It's like, okay guys, like I was saying.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, in the background, poker face. Just, like...
Yeah.
This is Velvet, by the way. Velvet jumped in.
I also want to say, I like first he goes, Fox, I am one with the aura, and the aura is with me. Really is just the same.
Chirrut was too good for that movie.
Who would?
That's a reference to Rogue One.
Yeah, I know. Who would be good for that movie?
I said Chirrut. That was the character's name.
Yeah.
I only know that because I looked it up.
He was cool. Cool. Yeah. Love it, John.
It's Fox's semblance. He's telepathic, and he likes surprising people with it.
We don't have time for this, Fox sent. Then why did you decide to surprise them? A couple of huntsmen are abducting someone. Sun, Neptune, get to the Pits district. Scarlet and Sage, you too, if you can hear me. Velvet,
It's a whole district. They built a whole city district on top of sinkholes.
Velvet, Yatsuhashi, hold your position in case they get away and try to flee the city. On our way, Sun sent. Fox ran towards Coco's location. She was trying to intervene, and the tall huntsman wasn't taking her seriously. Go on home, sweetheart, he sneered. This doesn't involve you. Oh, that was definitely going to annoy her.
I'm involving me.
Coco retorted.
What are you doing? You're a huntsman. You're supposed to be fighting, not kidnapping helpless people.
I'm not helpless, the merchant said. Fox could only imagine the expression on Coco's face.
Oh, all right then, tough guy.
She said.
If you think you can handle this, I'll just go.
No, please, the man begged. Coco had a real sadistic streak sometimes. Just one of the reasons she and Fox make great partners. His head was full of Team Sun now.
I hate it when my head is full of Team Sun.
Man, I used to think that guy never talked. Has he been using telepathy all along? Sun sent. I bet he's been talking about us right in front of our faces, Neptune sent. It's kind of cool though, right? Sun said. I can still hear you, Fox sent. He drew his tonfas and took up a defensive position beside Coco. I'm still annoyed. Those aren't tonfas. Those are like forearm blades. That's not what a tonfa is. Great, another one, the short guy said darkly. Dark. I wasn't aware voice had color, but okay.
No, it's like you have like a dark tone over it. It's just a great way to say this person is evil, but not actually like.
Sun and Neptune were quiet for a while. How does this work? Sun asked. I'll explain later. Just get over here, Fox sent. We're here! Okay, Sun shouted, and Fox heard his actual voice. Then a soft thud as Sun landed in front of him and Coco. Neptune rushed over just behind him. Oh, come on! The tall guy said. At the exact same time, Sun said, You again? Sounding surprised. You know
these guys?
Coco asked him. Yeah, we fought a few nights. Oh, these are the same guys. They were all covered. Only they were all covered up. Sun said. 2 against 4 this time. We can still take you. The tall guy said. How about 2 against 6? Scarlet called from above, landing softly next to Fox. The short guy sighed.
You gave Scarlet like the least threatening voice. He sounds like he's about to send me.
He's voiced by Gavin.
He's gonna sell me a pastry at Greg's.
He's voiced by Gavin, one of the least intimidating people I have ever heard of. He's the one who always talks like this on the podcast and keeps going on. Well, well, I can't quite. He has a slightly different. I can't quite nail it accent.
Where's he from?
Oh, where is Gavin from? Chat, pull up where he's from while I continue. The short guy sighed. These kids are becoming a real problem. Let's get out of here.
Not with that guy, you don't.
Coco warned.
Now there's fast jazz music. LA Noir chase scene.
She won't be happy if we come back empty-handed again, the short guy said to his partner. Shut up, the tall guy shouted. Drop him or else, Sun demanded. Something crashed into the ground and the 2 huntsmen took off. Drop him? Groaned the merchant.
Oh, this is me. Fox, if you can track down those huntsmen by their auras, go after them. Find out where they came from. On it, Fox sent. He sped off after the 2 bright auras, plugging his earbuds in and tapping his scroll on his belt to turn on Ada. Ada! Sorry, different book stream. His accessibility dialogue assistant. She immediately started feeding him information on his surroundings, so he didn't run. I forgot about this. This is a nifty little piece of device. So he didn't run into walls or fall into a hole while pursuing his would-be kidnappers. Again, who would build a city here? They seem to be heading out of town. Velvet, Yatsuhashi, I think these guys are heading your way. You'll recognize them from the other night. You fought them with Sun.
You mean the ones we rescued Sun from?
Velvet asked. Come
That's
on,
mean.
Sun sent. We'll be ready, Yatsuhashi confirmed. Fox let the huntsmen get farther ahead of him, so they wouldn't realize they were being followed. He had a good lock on their auras now, so he wouldn't have trouble finding them again. Just before they hit the northern border of the city, they stopped. Fox crept to their coordinates and listened. It was quiet. Ada, what's in front of me? Fox whispered. 1 kilometer north of here is a 5-story building constructed of steel and concrete, rectangular in shape. That's pretty tall for a vacuo. And it's made of concrete? Fox said. What building is it? It's currently abandoned.
What else would the building be made from? People don't build bricks in desert.
Oh no, he's adjacent to the abandoned building district from Power Rangers. It isn't abandoned now. Someone just went inside. It has no designated purpose on public record at this time. What used to be there? Fox asked. The Mistral Trading Company owned and operated as a dust refinery. That would have been before the war. Correct. Fox relayed the information to Velvet and Yatsuhashi. They're inside now, Fox said, concentrating on his semblance. I can't pick them out because there's a lot of people inside and a lot of their auras seem the same. Velvet and Yatsuhashi soon joined Fox. Velvet.
I know. I'm trying to find where it was because the chat said that Gavin is from Fame, which is like a suburb of London, I believe. It's near Oxford.
I meant the river is
He
called...
just talking.
The river is
He probably
called
just talks in
Thames.
received. Yeah, he probably talks in received pronunciation, but like with or something close to it. Anyway,
We happen to be nearby.
Sorry, I lost my place now. Great. Velvet said, relieved.
Glad we could get here.
So, how do you want to play this? Yatsuhashi asked. I don't know what's in there. Who's in there, Fox said. He had a bad feeling about this. So let's open it up, Yatsuhashi said. He stepped forward and Fox heard him grunt with exertion. I can't budge this door. Yatsuhashi drew his sword, and a moment later Fox heard a massive clang of metal on metal. Ow! Yatsuhashi said. On the
no,
other side
he's Yatsuhashi. He doesn't say ow. He goes ow.
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 Ow. On the other side of the door, Fox heard shouting and clapping, then banging. Yatsuhashi hadn't broken the door down, but it was okay. Now someone was opening it for them. A metal bolt slid on the other side of the door, and a woman's voice asked.
Ah, what do we fight for? Was she looking for a password?
Was she looking for a password? Fortune and glory, Fox said. The door slammed shut. I guess that was the wrong answer, he said. Fox knocked on the door and tried to get her attention again. How many guesses do I get?
Maybe we should just go.
Velvet said. Ada, mark this Fox faltered. He was scanning everyone in the building with a semblance, noting the variations in aura, trying to pick the huntsman out of the crowd. There had to be around 50 people in there, but at least one of their auras was familiar.
Fox?
Velvet asked.
Are you okay?
I'm fine, Fox said, but he could hardly believe what he was about to say. But I'm pretty sure Professor Rumple is inside. Called it! And let me guess, they're going to think that she was kidnapped.
No, I think
Initially.
they're gonna think she's a turncoat. Isn't that what they were kind of on?
She's like, in there. Fox nodded.
Fox nodded.
Yeah. Then we're going
By the
to...
way, bye, Floof.
Oh, bye, Floof. Then we're going to bust in. Yatsuhashi reached for his greatsword.
Hold on, Yatsu.
Velvet said.
Fox, is she in trouble?
There's no way to know from out here, Fox said. But he was worried. Just then the scroll vibrated. Coco, Adele, Ada announced. Quickly, Fox answered and he put Coco on speaker.
Status. Why does
Coco
she
asked.
like this? She's like... Status report.
Confused. Fox hung up and switched them all to TeamSpeak. I guess she can't reach out to them. That makes sense.
I want you guys again. Okay, envision what this sounds like. The phone goes off. Confused.
God, if only they did this in the show, it'd be great.
This is definitely something that works better visually.
They switched them over to TeamSpeak, updating Coco on how they come to the supposedly abandoned dust refinery, and the fact that Professor
It's
Rumple
Loco
seemed to
Adele,
be inside.
ADA.
If the this is her.
If the professor is in there, I'm almost certain it's because she wants to be. Her own investigation must have brought her here. We should interfere.
Coco said. Wow, that's a lot of faith, Coco. Are you sure? Scarlet asked suspiciously. Or are you saying that's because you don't want to get caught? Because if something happens... Coco shut the idea down quickly.
If we interfere in her investigation and blow whatever she's doing, we'll get worse than detention. She'll probably kick us out of Shade, and we'll have ruined the usefulness of the information she's gathering. I say we give her the time to do her thing. I want to ask, what's the downside of getting kicked out of an academy? Like, RWBY and Co. never finished their education, and they seem to be doing just great.
They got official licenses.
I guess it's not necessary. It's like the bar. All you have to do is pass it.
Yeah. No, you don't. You actually do need a law degree, I believe.
Really? I guess they've changed that law.
I think they've changed that, which sucks because, like, I would love just to take the bar and just get registered as a lawyer. Like, just completely cut out the middleman, because I can study law on my own.
There are a couple states you can take the professional engineering exam without an engineering degree.
Oh, that's
I think
great.
Massachusetts is one of them.
There's only one thing Coco wants to blow right now, and it's Rumpel's ego. What about the guy they were trying to abduct? Fox asked. What have you found out about him? Does he have a semblance?
He says he doesn't.
Coco returned.
He was kind of rude about it, too.
He threatened to report us to the headmaster once he found out we're only students, not licensed huntsmen, Scarlet said. Oh, this is staged, you.
Students from Beacon and Haven.
Sage pointed out.
He cared more about where we were from, I think.
Coco sounded smug, like her decision had been validated.
He refused to talk to anyone but Sun once the danger was over.
Sun laughed nervously. For what good it did us, he didn't tell us much, just that he'd never figured out his semblance. And were those two who were following him really huntsmen? Fox asked.
The owner of the club said they are. He likes that they hang around in his club, in fact, because they make him feel safer. Plus, their experience discourages people from cheating. Usually.
Coco said. Is Velvet?
They didn't want his money.
Velvet said.
But if they were working for the Crown, why would the Crown be interested in people without semblances like this guy and that woman the other night?
Well, this has been a good night so far. We have 2 new leads.
Coco said.
What's that?
Velvet asked.
The dust refinery, for one. We know it was harboring at least 2 criminals.
And the other lead? Neptune asked.
Professor Rumpel.
Coco said.
Tomorrow I'll go to her office.
And snoop around some more? Fox asked.
No. I'm gonna ask her some questions. Oh, now we really film Nor, boys! Where were you on the day of today?
What was I saying about her wanting to blow things? Yeah. Alright. So let's see. Let's look at the chat a little bit before we move on to the next chapter. Tobias, don't be mean to Floof. It's like Super Saiyan. You no longer have to go to get some experience. Instead, just back tingles. Oh, you never have to go. You don't have to go through some experience. Instead, just back tingles. Really? Did they change how Super Saiyan worked? I mean, I know they have like
just back tingles. Like when you get off antidepressants. Those like tingly feelings.
Never been on antidepressants. I should try some probably.
When you have to wean off them, and while you're weaning off them, like you feel like these tingly things happen. It's the weirdest thing.
Will anyone catch me up? All right. Basically, people are getting kidnapped. It's probably by the guys from the last book who kidnapped people for their semblances, though we're not sure yet. The villains from the last book escaped off screen, and Coffee and Team Sin are investigating. And these are the new leads. I found a fanfic about the idea of telepathy conversations. I mean...
There's a fanfic about everything. You can find a fanfic about, like, people with gigantic feet taking over the world, and they only have gigantic feet. Nothing else about them is large. I'm sure that exists.
Pretty sure that was a Courage the Cowardly Dog episode.
Well, if there's anybody into that, we know what inspired them.
Oh, man. The real trick with fanfiction is finding the combination of things you're looking for. It's typically like, they usually have like ones that are just very specific one things, but then they either have things you don't like mixed in there, or they don't have things that you want mixed in there with it.
Yeah. If, like the I'm thinking about the Animal Crossing fanfic again.
At some point, we really should just sit down and read that when we have the time.
Hold on, intermission.
Intermission?
Just one.
Okay, alright.
Just one. Okay. Pickpocket by a pretty dumb hoe. Red/reader. Boss-employee relationship. Sexual tension. Unresolved sexual tension. Punishment. Public display of affection. Threats of violence. Slut-shaming. Verbal humiliation. Bruises. Daddy kink. Hardcore. It's been a day since your encounter with Red. You were really hesitant to bring it back up, but you docked at the shore of a new island and you'd have to help him with the sails and such, so you felt it was best if you brought it up. It went down a lot better than expected, of course, until you two went out and you decide to steal something without his permission. This is rated E, by the way, if you haven't, like E for explicit, if you haven't figured that out.
Sorry, I was gonna say E for everyone. Oh yeah, I forgot, it's explicit on fucking...
Yeah, it's on AO3.
Oh, Lord. God, fanfiction is horrifyingly wonderful. And wonderfully horrifying.
Did you know that there's BTS fanfiction with 1 million hits?
Oh, no, when I'm looking for certain tags, I'm not gonna mention what tags, I have to filter out so many goddamn boy bands. Just like, why are these tagged with this?
Guys, they're just like genetic test tube singers. They're not that interesting or good.
I feel weird. I feel weird reading fanfiction about live action like shows and such. Like, I can only imagine what you're actually doing shipping real people. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Guys, they're real. You know what was a big thing? I used to be in, like, the hockey fandom. Like, the NHL. And there are people who write NHL fanfiction where it's like, Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin secretly are lovers. And it's like, bro, they're real people with wives and probably children. I don't know how old Ovechkin is, but I think he has kids. Like...
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, several fandoms, I think it was Madoka Magica and Little Witch Academia... There's one more that was older. But several of the fandoms I've joined end up having, like, these not just small fanfics, these massive hockey-themed fanfics. It is weird.
Hockey-themed? Like why has that never happened in my fandoms?
Have you searched? The problem is you probably don't have the right shipping tags.
I mean, I've never seen someone write, like Fire Emblem Hockey AU. Unless you're talking about, like, hockey players in the AU of the show. How
long has it been since Fire Emblem Three Houses came out? Like, a year and a half? 2 years?
Just over a year.
Yeah, okay, so these fanfics popped up probably at around the 3-year mark for the fandom. So, give it some time.
Just when people ran out of things to do.
Well, basically, it's like, people have, like, it's like, the Little Witch fandom, we finally got, like, we got Little Pilot Academia, which I highly recommend. It's a slow start, but it's an insane fanfic that's, like, over 140 chapters long, and each chapter is at, like, minimum 10,000 words. It's ludicrous, and it's superb. It's just, like, it's a great science fiction racing fanfic.
I hate that this is in my search history now, but... search results. You search for hockey, Attack on Titan. 22 results.
What did I say? That's a more than 3-year-old fandom.
These cover, like the earliest one is from 2014, so this has been going on for a long time.
Sounds about right.
This is so wild. Oh my gosh, I'm having a moment. They're also all explicit yaoi fanfics.
Yep, that's another thing. It's particularly because, like, the ones that I found were Yuri fanfics, very obviously. So it's like, it's something about the territory. I guess gay shippers just like hockey.
What is it about hockey? Like, why don't people write, like, NFL AUs? Is it because the players aren't, like, soft feminine boys? Because hockey players aren't either. Or are they just soft enough? Is it something about the Scandinavians? That's what I think.
Something about the Scandinavians.
I think it's something about the Swedes.
Guys, remember Hitalia? No! No one
Bruh.
remembers Hitalia. No one cares about Hitalia. Get that shit out of here. I had a friend that maybe watched
had
through
a
the
friend-
first season of that. And I remember one funny joke.
I had a friend in middle school. Guys, I had a friend in middle school who ran a Tumblr blog about her Hitalia OC.
What country was it?
I'm not going to disclose that.
Could still find it.
I don't know. I'm just not going to.
It's probably like somewhere in the Balkans. Yeah, dear Lord, the amount of... Yeah, I know, I dated a girl that was into Hitalia. That was... That was not a relationship that lasted very long. Alright, here we go. This is your narration now.
Hold on, I'm just reading through the chat. Didn't realize people cared so much about gay hockey players. You really have no idea. I'm waiting for my college football AUs for Fire Emblem. Come on, guys.
I wonder if there's a hockey AU for Yuri on Ice. I think that'd be hilarious.
Where's my figure skating AUs for hockey?
They probably have it. I guarantee those two have weird bleed over. I think that's part of it is like I can already see it now that like part of the appeal is like the character that goes onto the ice and when they skate, everything else blurs out around them. It's just them and the rink and their skates on the ice.
I think there has to be something about like just how hockey players look. Because like the subjects of those fan fictions are very often like these very like soft looking feminine blondes or Koreans, depending on what you're talking about. Like it has to be something about that. Like I guess certain hockey players just look ultra non-threatening. Because I've seen with baseball players too. But there are no NFL players that look non-threatening. Like you can't be an NFL player who looks like, you know, can I please have like just some extra fries with my meal? Like no, if you're playing in the NFL, you're gonna be some freak of nature just by definition. You're either gonna have like an 80-inch arm span for your 74-inch frame, or you're gonna weigh like 400 pounds.
And on top of that, you're probably gonna have enough brain damage that you have like an IQ of 7. So it's like you're not gonna be able to process moral thought.
Why not roller derby? Roller derby, I don't think is a sport. I think it's an excuse for really angry women to just beat the shit out of each other.
I mean, I wouldn't say you need an excuse.
Well, if a bunch of women like went out to just into a park and started beating up each other, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't go very well. But if you put it in a rink and you call it a sport, then you know, yeah, something.
So let's hop into it. Chapter 5.
Alright. Chapter 5. Yatsuhashi shifted his weight from one foot to the other as he waited with all the other Shade Academy students in the meeting grounds, the wide open area on the highest level of Shade Academy where school assemblies were usually held. Yatsuhashi loved it up here. It was early morning, so the temperature was pleasant as it ever got in Vacuo, and the sun began to warm the night-chill desert. Among the green spaces scattered throughout the city, this was the most lush. An artificial oasis meant to evoke Vacuo's former splendor, dense with trees and flowering plants. It was as much a statement for those who gazed up at the academy as a pleasure for the students and their headmaster. The meeting grounds reminded Yatsuhashi of his mother's healing gardens in Mistro, his favorite place to go for meditation. Guys, he's so soft, despite the fact he's big. This is new. This is a new concept. Of course, there wasn't much but flat desert for miles around. Yet having some extra distance from the harsh, deadly terrain allowed Yatsuhashi to appreciate its beauty. Clear blue skies, sand tinted with gold in the early sun. It was hard to believe that there were deadly things lurking just out of sight, grim like dromedons with their venomous spit and bone armor protecting their swollen humps.
My humps, my love and dromedon humps.
Not to mention the natural wildlife, like horrifying mole crabs that slept just below the sand and could cut a person in two with their massive claws. Why does anyone live here?
I asked him about Australia, and the only answer I got is, well, we were prisoners first.
This
and
is
then
true.
we just kind of stayed here.
I'm pretty sure the Australian accent evolved from the Cockney accent, because that's just where all of the criminals they found in, like, the poor parts of London went.
I believe it. I believe it. All that besides more insidious threats.
Yeah. All besides the more insidious threats, people like the Crown. So there's giant monsters and criminals and gigantic criminal organizations.
There's Grim,
Yes.
there's giant monsters, and now there's a criminal empire. This is... You're the narrator.
Yeah, I know. I'm just... Sorry. Blanked out for a second there. Yatsuhashi rubbed his right shoulder, still sore from when he had tried to break down the sealed door with fulcrum last night.
You okay?
Velvet asked. From his right, she placed a delicate hand on his injured arm.
Fine.
Yatsuhashi said, more gruffly than he intended.
Thanks to you. Just wish we'd gotten more sleep.
They had snuck back into shade just before dawn, right
Ah!
when a notification... Right when a notification had been broadcast to all student scrolls.
Report to the meeting
Oh,
room.
this is on.
this is
Report to the meeting grounds at 8 a.m. for an important announcement. I have an important announcement to make.
Tapioca is no longer being served in the cafeteria.
It came directly from Professor Rumpel. The crowd around them murmured hushed speculations about what they were gathered for. Velvet stifled a yawn.
Sleep would have been good, especially before whatever this is.
Her rabbit ears drooped, and her boundless energy seemed to have no bounds after all. Or seemed to have bounds after all. Yatsu and Velvet haven't been this tired since they had tried to clear Beacon Academy of invading Grimm a year ago. At least last night's mission had brought them some new information and a renewed commitment to finding and stopping the Crown.
Sorry. Let's straighten some things out here. Where were we? There we go. Alright. Do you think it's about us?
Yatsuhashi asked fearfully.
It's not always about us,
Velvet smiled.
as I'm often reminding Coco.
From Yatsuhashi's left, Coco approached and leaned forward to peer at Velvet from over the rim of her sunglasses. I heard.
Good. I hope it'll sink in one day.
Velvet said cheerfully. Why is Velvet a savage?
Because Velvet is an adorable bunny girl that needs to be protected, but can protect herself just fine.
I wish I had a bunny. How would be that to bring on stream?
Bunnies are cute, man. I just know that they're like hell with wires.
Yeah, they're really hard to keep as pets. It does seem like an odd coincidence, though. If Fox is right, Professor Rumpel was out last night, too, Coco said, settling in beside them. So this could be about us. Velvet rolled her eyes. I was hoping to talk to her before glass, but I guess our chat will have to wait. Coco pushed up her sunglasses and rubbed her eyes. Okay, I'm not actually going to rub my eyes, but Yatsuhashi saw dark bags under them as she lowered the glasses back into place. Like she doesn't wear makeup?
I guess not. Looks like she's in a hurry to talk to us.
Yatsuhashi said.
Sometimes it's better to slow down a little and let things come at their own pace.
I'll pass on your unsolicited advice when I talk to her, Coco said dryly. Yatsuhashi crossed his arms, then grimaced as a fresh pain shot through his shoulder.
Come on, Ara.
He thought.
Do your thing. What
How
exactly
fast does
happened
Aura...
with this door? I'm not quite following. Did he, like, cut himself?
I don't know. Maybe he, like, threw out his shoulder? Doesn't Aura work pretty fast?
Especially with, like,
I
internal
don't know,
injuries.
I don't know, man. Yeah, sports news. Nothing interesting. His advice may have been unsolicited, but it was good nonetheless. Aura regenerated over time, and resting helped the process. Pushing on without sleep day after day, not to mention exhausting your aura in battle, took its toll. Right now, Kiffi was operating at much lower reserves than they should, and Vacuo not being at your best could be fatal. Just, guys, if you're not on guard 24/7, always ready to fight gigantic monsters, you're going to die. This is a great place to live.
Even when you're sleeping, you should be awake.
Mm-hmm. One eye open, everybody. Etsuhashi made a note to talk to Coco about easing up on them. If this was hard on them, what could it do to Soon? Finally, the double doors to the headmaster's office opened and Theodore strode out, his glittering red-gloved fists raised above his head like he just won a fight, or was raring for one.
Good morning, Shade Academy.
Headmaster Theodore's voice boomed over the crowd.
How are you doing?
The students erupted into applause and cheering. It was what Headmaster Theodore expected. It was what he inspired whenever he appeared.
Okay.
Excuse me. It's the Rona. No, just kidding. I have a little bit
So
congestion. That's
he
all.
just walks out and everyone bursts into cheering? What is it about this man that's so inspiring?
Bro, he's just inspiring.
Kimura, do we trade off for the italicized segments?
I think we did.
Yatsuhashi had only spoken to the headmaster once directly. When Team Coffee had at first arrived from Vale following the fall of Beacon, bearing a letter of recommendation from Glinda Goodwitch that Theodore handed unread to Professor Rumpel. I know who you are, he said. You're in. You're all in.
Sir?
Coco asked. I try to keep informed about students at the other schools, Headmaster Theodore sniffed. And I did extensive research before the Vital Tournament.
You did?
Professor Rumpel spoke up from beside the headmaster's desk, watching the proceedings with a kind of amusement. She's seen this show before, Yatsuhashi thought. God, this is plain hell on my eyes. Well, Rumpel did. She does all that. Theodore waved his hand. Stuff and much more. Regardless, I'm always thought you kids would do better in the tournament than the other academies. Because, you know, our main protagonists, they're just super special awesome.
So did we.
Coco scowled. Yatsuhashi felt his face warm with embarrassment. He was uncomfortable under Theodore's intense scrutiny, those blue eyes peering at him like he was a specimen in a collection. It still bothers you, doesn't it? Theodore walked around his desk. He hardly ever sat, hardly ever stopped moving. His dark hair was close cut, almost shaved off, practical for the desert climate. His checkered vest showed off his wiry frame, thin but sharp lines of muscle, like he had been chiseled from stone. That was Headmaster Theodore. He put everything out there. He had clearly worked hard to get his body into peak physical condition, and he wanted to show it off. A flowing gray-blue... I mean, if he was in peak physical condition, he'd actually have, like, kind of fat over the muscle. Just saying.
No, I've seen plenty of guys that are, like, shredded. I go to the gym. I know what I see.
Mm-hmm.
The whole, like, true fat people, or true strong people have a little bit of fat over them. That's just... Yes, people who weigh 400 pounds and lift 1,000-pound stones over their head and throw them, yes, those people do look like that. But if you've ever looked at, like, a professional athlete, you'll notice that they are pretty toned.
A flowing gray-blue cape, the color of a stormy sky, was clasped around his shoulder with a silver chain. He had a silver belt with a round buckle and matching boots and a bright white slacks with deep side pockets, all carefully orchestrated to draw even more attention to himself. Headmaster Theodore's whole style should have been ridiculous for a man likely in his 40s, maybe older, but the hardened huntsman made it work. Yatsuhashi got the impression he could make anything work. Okay, so Yatsuhashi is gay. Okay, we're chalking that up.
Wait, what?
Just like, Yatsuhashi got the impression he could make anything work.
I don't get it.
Nothing. It's weird how much like adoration there is going on towards these adults. Like, is that alarming to anyone else that it's like Professor Rumpel was so great, Professor Theodore is so amazing?
Guys are definitely evil.
I don't know about Theodore.
I think he's like negligent, honestly. Yatsuhashi looked over at Coco then, and as tired as she was from their long journey across half a continent, which again should have taken a boat, and the burning sentence of vacuo, he saw a faint smile tug at her lips. Coco could be judgmental, and she didn't take long to form an opinion, but she usually wasn't wrong. That smile made Yatsuhashi feel better about their choice to come to Vacuo. Though if Coco ended up being wrong, she was usually last to admit it.
Hey chat, my girlfriend just learned what RWBY stands for.
Oh, really?
I just got a message. Just learned. She just watched the show, I should put that up there.
I see. She learns that it stands for low quality.
Yes.
This is Coco.
It stands for disappointment. What
stands
disappointment?
For really weird, barely animated. This is Coco's line.
I know, I'm just laughing. It does bother me.
Coco said.
I hate to lose. Fortunately, it doesn't happen often.
Headmaster, cursor, go there. There we go. Headmaster Theodore clapped just once, like a crash of thunder between his gloved hands. Excellent! Welcome to Shade Academy. Rumple will arrange everything. Wow, you know, I really hate how, like, him and Ozpin are just sort of like, yeah, our sidekicks will take care of that. No, this is not Dashi. This is Molly Rhymemaster.
Hi. Dashi has the rainbow hair, right? I don't know what she actually looks like.
I have no idea what she actually looks like. She never shows her face online. She has a lot of... She very much takes pains about that.
That's probably smart.
It's very smart. She does it for very smart reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's smart. I'm not that smart.
Headmaster Theodore strode away without another word.
That's it?
Coco asked. You expected some kind of trial? Theodore spun back around, cape flaring dramatically around his ankles. Wasn't the Battle of Beacon enough?
But we failed,
Velvet said. Her voice was moments away from breaking, though her stoic expression held. Ah, she speaks! Theodore strode towards Velvet. His voice softened. You didn't fail, my dear. You fought. You stayed far longer than anyone would have expected of a student. And now you're here.
Blade charts, don't be weird in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, don't be weird, man. And now you're here. Do you want to be here? Will you fight for Shade the way you fought for Beacon? For Velvet Scarlatina? Velvet hesitated but nodded.
So, where are we?
Velvet.
Okay.
Velvet hesitated.
I win.
Theodore stood in front of Fox. Will you, Fox Alistar of Kente? Can yeet?
Can I?
I will.
Guys, we finally got a town. Of course, we have no reference or world building.
No, this was mentioned in the last book. This was mentioned in the last book.
I wasn't there for the last book, so I should have been.
Fox sent. Headmaster Theodore didn't even blink at hearing the boy's voice in his head. Headmaster Theodore turned to Yatsuhashi. And you, Yatsuhashi Daichi? Yes, sir, Yatsuhashi said. You can count on me. Theodore nodded. Coco Adele will...
No.
Coco interrupted. She hesitated just long enough to make Yatsuhashi feel shocked then nervous.
Oh. I think that...
I'll fight for Shade.
Oh, okay. I think that is still her. I'll fight for Shade even harder. I won't fail again.
She looked at her team.
We won't fail again.
Theodore grinned. You made Shade strong. You will make Shade stronger, and Shade will make you stronger, he intoned. Theodore struck a fighting pose and raised his fist. But if you ever doubt that you belong here, you're welcome to take me on for the right to stay.
Perhaps another time.
Professor Rumple intervened.
I'm sure they're tired from their journey.
Of course. That wouldn't be a fair fight. Another time. I look forward to it.
I just remembered when, Rooster Teeth put out a map of like all the locations they've ever referenced in RWBY material, and it's like those random locations. It's like 4 big cities, and then all this like smattering of absolutely nothing. It's
yeah,
like
and
if
like
I was
almost
writing...
all of them are in Mistral.
It's like if I was like giving you a map of New York, and I was like, okay, we got New York, Buffalo, Syracuse, and Albany, and you're like, yeah, okay, and then we got Mount Vernon, Dix Hills, Montauk, like these like tiny towns with no, like they're just suburbs. Like there's no significance in telling us that.
I'm gonna hit the restroom. You keep on reading. I should be back before you have to have any male reading parts.
Not if I have anything to say about it. Yatsuhashi shook his head at the memory. Headmaster Theodore was so different. Theodore was so different from the more reserved Headmaster Ozpin, who had been younger but seemed much older. Guys, she's figuring it out. They were almost like opposite sides of the same coin. Ozpin had believed in you before you did, almost like he knew your true potential despite what your transcripts or fighting abilities looked like. Theodore believed you had potential, but you had to earn it and prove yourself to him first. I think Ozpin's method is how I even got into my college. It wasn't unkind, it was just very practical and demanding. It was very vacuo, or so Fox had described it. Now Headmaster Theodore was dancing around the circle of students, jabbing fists at them, fainting. Is it fainting or fainting? Fainting left and right, beckoning them to come fight him. His youthful energy was palpable and infectious. Theodore finally goaded someone into stepping forward for a match. A girl named Umber Gorgonian. That's my favorite evolution. They faced each other and bowed as the noise died down. Then a voice cut through the air. "Headmaster, that isn't why we're here." Professor Rumpel strode forward. "But," Theodore began. "Please save it for later," Rumpel said briskly. "You're no fun," Theodore sighed. "But you're right." Theodore rubbed his hands together, the crystals on his glove catching the light. "Let's get started then." He gave Umber a high five, and she returned to her spot beside her friends, cheeks blazing red.
So this guy literally just walks out into a crowd and just like goes, "All right, who's first? Let's go."
I accidentally called him Head Door Theodore.
I heard that.
I hate myself sometimes. Anyway. Headmaster Theodore hopped up onto the short stage and joined Rumpel at the microphone.
"We've received some reports,"
Theodore began. Rumpel cleared her throat. "Some complaints
from local security forces about Shade Academy students operating in the city at night and interfering with official huntsman business."
I think that was me, but whatever.
No, I think that was...
I told you.
I think, like, the idea is she was correcting him, and he's like, "All right, it's complaints."
Yeah. "I told you it was about us,"
Coco muttered. Or is this you? So, you're...
Yeah, Coco muttered. Yatsuhashi clenched his jaw. This wasn't right, though. If they hadn't interfered, those huntsmen would have kidnapped an innocent person. They had to be compromised by the crown. Right, I'm still reading. He felt Velvet put a hand on his arm. He glanced over at her, and she shook her head slightly. She knew his anger had been boiling up, but she wanted him to watch and wait.
"We need to maintain a good relationship with the police and huntsmen, now more than ever. You know we don't have many rules here because all Shade students have to be responsible for their own actions, and willing to accept the consequences."
Theodore glanced at Rumpel.
"However effective immediately, students must remain on campus after sundown unless otherwise assigned to a mission and approved by Professor Rumpel or myself."
"Damn," Coco muttered. Students murmured in confusion and anger. Yatsuhashi saw Sun raise his hand, but Theodore ignored him. He held up one hand to silence the group. And it worked because it was Headmaster Theodore. Guys, he's so amazing. He grabbed the microphone and moved around the front of the room. "As you know, safety of us..."
"As you know, the safety of our students is my top priority.
Some of you know, you recently came from academies that were run a little differently, but Vacuo is a more dangerous place than Mistral and Vale.
Guys, Vacuo's dangerous. Did you get that?
Yeah.
It's kind of subtle. Did you get that?
So
I swear, it's like every other page.
It really does. It feels like they just keep harping on the fact that Vacuo is dangerous. We get it. It's it's Space Australia or whatever.
Space
get
Australia. Go Space Broncos. It's like the only joke from DBZ Abridged I remember.
Theodore looked out.
I know. Theodore looked out at the crowd as he strolled. Was it Yatsugashi's imagination, or did his gaze linger on Team Kiffy for a moment? He had to know these reports were about them, but then why hadn't he spoken to them directly? He continued.
I've also heard the rumors that people have been disappearing in Vacuo. I understand this is a matter of concern for all of you. You probably want to help. Good, that's why you're here. But we already have the best people working on it to get to the bottom of it, and we want to avoid distractions. When it's time...
Oh no, did I yell by accident?
What?
Someone says rip earphone users. Was that me? Did I yell?
It might be me.
Okay. Anyway, go on.
Avoid distractions. When it's time, when we know more, we will seek help if necessary.
Professor Rumpel cleared her throat.
In short, don't you worry. We know what's been going on out there, and we have another solution. Don't we,
Theodore
Professor?
Said. We do! Rumpel took the microphone and fixed it back into the stand. Oh, it's still her. Shade Academy has been through a lot of change lately. Last year we took in students from Beacon, and more recently we welcomed 8 new students, 8 new arrivals from Haven as well. There were scattered boos in the audience. We took in some refugees from Beacon Academy. Boo! Boo!
I think they're booing the fact that the Haven students did nothing to stop their school from being destroyed or, like, I don't know, rebuilding that one wall that was damaged, and that was it. Literally, like, I don't know why no one went back to Haven. Haven is perfectly intact. There's literally just one wall missing. My school would not close for that. Any of my schools I went to over the years.
You went to more than one college?
No, but my high school wouldn't have closed down for that.
Oh yeah, no way. Considering where you live now. I go to school where it's cold. They wouldn't close for anything.
I mean...
One day it was like negative 20 degrees out. It didn't close.
Yeah, that's about where we get shut down. I mean, I'm in the rarest position where I can say that I got off of school because of a hurricane in Ohio.
A hurricane in Ohio?
What happened?
What's going on in Lake Erie?
It was the hurricane. What was it named? It was some really boring name that passed through Texas during my sophomore or junior year in high school, and the winds carried up all the way up through the Midwest, and were so powerful they downed like power lines across the city. And so basically we got off
Was that Hurricane Mike?
No,
Hurricane Ike, whatever it was.
Ike. It might have been Ike.
Ike. I know it was Mike or Ike or something.
Yeah, it had a weird intonation to it, but like the basically it caused such damage that basically we got off of school for a week because of power outages. And it was great. It was great for us students, not great for everyone else involved. I remember my dad
there was a blizzard out. Once there was a blizzard outside, and it was of such little concern that the president of my school just slept in and then woke up and I was like, yeah, I guess school's closed.
I remember that my dad has actually out at the height of the wind. He didn't know it at the time, but we were trying to cut up like fallen branches from our trees because he wanted to get rid of it immediately. So he had us out literally during the worst part of the storm, or part of the windstorm, right under the trees that were already losing tree limbs. Like, my dad, brilliant person that he is, decided to risk the entire family out there that day. It was great.
Sounds great. Nothing like a snowstorm in Appalachia.
Let's see. So where we were. Scattered boosts from the audience. Yeah.
Scattered boos from the audience. But they died down at one fierce glance from Headmaster Theodore. Headmaster Theodore. That one was also an accident.
I'm just imagining this man with a door for a head now.
Velvet's face flushed, and this time Yatsuhashi put a comforting hand on her shoulder. Yatsuhashi's hand would go around more than her shoulder. That's like a hand around the entire upper body. He is large. Rumpel looked around. There has clearly been a challenge for everyone, the strain on the dormitory space and the overcrowded classrooms, and we haven't yet addressed the issue of team assignments for some of you. It is understandably difficult to adjust to a new school, and an entirely new group of classmates, and, most of all, life in vacuo. And yet, some of you have been separated from your original training teams. I'm having so much trouble with this voice, I don't know why.
That's one way to put it.
Yatsuhashi thought.
Separated by battle or death.
And so, Professor Rumpel added with a flourish, Shade Academy is holding its first reinitiation ceremony. She placed her hands behind her back and smiled. Yatsuhashi's blood ran cold. What? Velvet whispered. What? Coco yelled. The vacuous reaction to the previous announcement was nothing compared to the fervor that now electrified the crowd. Everyone started talking at once or shouting questions to Professor Rumpel. Theodore held up a hand, but even that wasn't enough this time. He slammed a fist down onto the stand, and the resulting boom finally settled down the crowd. When is this happening? Coco called out. It's already begun, Rumpel said. Everything you do from this moment forward will be a factor into your evaluations for new teams.
This is, may the odds be ever in your favor. And it's like, you are now in the cornucopia. Please enjoy the Hunger Games.
That's the voice I should be giving her. Our next tribute is Coco Adele.
Here we go. What about our existing teams?
Your old teams no longer exist. New teams will be formed, Rumpel said crisply. Coco tore off her sunglasses. For how long? Rumpel didn't blink. For the time being, she said. Headmaster Theodore strode forward, his voice projected easily without the aid of a microphone.
This is going to be fun. I wish I'd thought of it sooner. It's the perfect way to get everyone back on equal footing and improve our teamwork. New teams will be formed without regard for what year you are or where you came from. Vacuo, Vale, or Mistral, it doesn't matter anymore.
He clapped enthusiastically.
Oh, goody! Goody gumdrops! What year we are?
Yatsu thought.
What? Does that line make sense to you? What year we are? Oh, say.
What year we are? He doesn't know what year he is.
Oh, yeah, I completely missed that. This can't be right. How could a first year keep up with a fourth year?
I think this is
you.
Is it.
Our longtime Shade students are already familiar with our initiation ceremony. Luckily, Professor Rumpel has cooked up something new that no Academy students will have an advantage.
Yatsuhashi turned as he heard the whirring motors of an Airbus. Guys, it's happening! They're gonna play Fortnite! Then 4 buses lifted up into view beyond the edge of a terrace.
Oh, I think you're not wrong. That would make total sense. They got inspired by the Battle Royale craze.
When you reach your destination, your goal will be to locate a gold figurine and bring it back to the school, Rumpel said. She's British now, guys.
Great.
I mean, she's just Hunger Games woman, but you know.
Glad this is fair for everyone who can see. All aboard!
Master Theodore called out. The doors of the hovering airbuses. I just love the idea. It's like, when is this going to be? Now.
Oh Lord.
Students began filing uncertainly into the vehicles.
We haven't even had breakfast yet.
Sun protested. Meanwhile, Yatsuhashi felt like he was having an out-of-body experience. Bro, me too. He needed to keep his team close to him, especially Velvet. If they weren't separated, they couldn't be assigned to different teams. But when he looked up, the first Airbus was already pulling away, loaded with students. It reminded Yatsuhashi uncomfortably of the evacuation of Beacon Academy, of that horrible day they'd left their home behind forever. He felt the breath catch in his throat. Stay together, Coco called, bringing him back to the moment. She and Fox stepped aboard an Airbus, but another line of students cut in front of Yatsuhashi. He stopped himself from shoving them aside and watched as the Airbus filled and carried away his friends.
Sit close to
Look at me dropping points.
Yatsu, just pick up Velvet. Just pick her up and hold her. That's all you need to do for this. Just, my bunny, no one touches.
I mean, would anybody try to say no to him? Dude's like 7 feet tall.
There's probably like 3 other 7 feet tall dudes, though.
It's true. That's you.
Yeah, stick close to me. We'll find them.
Yeah. When she didn't respond, he looked for her. She wasn't at his side.
God damn it, Yatsu!
He caught sight of the tips of her ears among the rush of students. She was being propelled backwards. Her eyes were locked on Yatsuhashi's. Yatsu! She called.
Velvet!
This time, Yatsuhashi pushed forcefully through a pack of his schoolmates.
Sorry, that's my ride. Ugh.
He shouted as people fell or scrambled out of his way. He had to get to Velvet. She waited for him by the door, arm outstretched, but the Airbus hatch started to close. She reached out one last time in an attempt to hold the door, but someone pulled her aside. Yatsu!
Don't worry, I'll find you!
Yatsuhashi bellowed. After all, they were going to the same place. Weren't they? Yatsuhashi clambered onto the last Airbus as it floated away from Jade Academy. He looked back at the roof. All the tranquility Yatsuhashi had felt there only moments before was gone. The turbulence from the ship's rotor churned the water in the pool and shook tree leaves as though they were in a windstorm, mirroring his internal anxiety. Headmaster Theodore was waving and whooping, like it was all some terrific game, while Professor Rumpel watched silently, her hair whipping around in the wind, and an unsettling grin on her face.
Guys, who's the villain? I guess at this point it's pretty obvious for the reader. So they're reshuffling teams to order basically to just mess up the investigation. Not a bad
Yatsu called dibs.
Oh, God. I think we're going to stop there for the chapters. I need to finish by like 6:30, and I don't think we can get through another chapter. Let's see. That's what page is that? 75 down to 88. Yeah, that's 13 pages. I don't think I can do that within an hour at our rate. So, but that said, so the reshuffling teams. Okay, that's a way to mess with them.
And from District 7, Yatsuhashi.
I swear to God, if this is just Fortnite all over again. It's... we gotta play Players Unknown Apex Fortnite. Warzone.
Every time I see the acronym PUBG, my brain reads it as peanut and butter jelly.
I just read it as like pagub. I don't even know how to read it. Then Yatsu gets a hair instead of a bunny. Oh yeah, that'd be funny. Just find the ears. Like, I don't know. Like, I really hate that where it's like, oh, the crowd pushed us away. You can jump over buildings. You all have mad hops. Yatsu, you are a walking fucking bulldozer. Holy shit, man. Like
to be fair, everybody else is a walking bulldozer.
Like, it should not be hard to stick with your team. Why would anyone agree to this? Also, Yatsu, you have like the best semblance in the fucking show. Just erase everyone's memories.
Everybody forget why they're here.
Yeah, just make everyone forget. Take your team and run. You don't even need to be official huntsman anymore if they're going to fuck you over like this.
Make everybody forget literally the last 24 hours.
Oh, that would be great. Just,
That's the problem with, like, these types of semblances.
They break the game.
Yeah, and, like, we don't know the limit of a semblance because we're connected to aura. Just kidding. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. We don't know what their limitations actually are.
At least in the books, I'm pretty sure the aura is very directly connected.
I know, but is it, like, how much of his aura does it take to do one? Is it more? Is it less?
That's a good question. I don't know. Because, he made Carmine forget the last few seconds in order to disrupt her whirlwind. Because she had a whirlwind semblance.
Isn't that what Mercury had?
No, he doesn't have a semblance.
Oh, okay.
His was literally stolen by his father, who can steal semblances. And then he killed his father because he didn't think this through. Yeah.
A lot of information's being thrown at me.
Yeah. So that's the, So basically, we're just doing a new initiation ceremony. Because, for some reason... Because they had the initiation ceremony from Beacon in the last book. So is it just them, spinning their wheels? Oh, we gotta keep showing initiation ceremonies. Stop with the initiation ceremonies! I get that you're, this is like trying to Hunger Games to it. What was the second Hunger Games called? Catching Fire?
Catching Fire.
And actually, I like that story, but it's I remember, I had no interest in the rest of the Hunger Games after that, because it's what's the point?
Mockingjay was good. The movies were good. Mockingjay movies were good. The books weren't.
Well, really? Because I usually hear the opposite.
The problem is the books were tied to the first-person perspective, so, nothing was happening but first person. But in the movies, they could get away from that, so, you actually did see things going on.
Let's see, Gum Gum Dukin. How goes the RWBY fanfic? You mean fixing RWBY? I'm about halfway through the next section. I'm very excited, though that's all the easy stuff. I now have to animate everything, and I'm still waiting for one piece of outstanding art from one of my artists. RWBY Games, Catching Fire. Just ends up being Fortnite. Yeah, I'm expecting that. If John Semblance boosted Yatsu's semblance, he could pretty much be Maxwell Lord. Yeah, he probably could. Probably could. That's a guy from DC Comics that can just fuck with everyone's memories.
Yeah, memory powers are... Unless you specifically say it's only, a certain chunk of time.
Well, we know for a fact that he can just erase things whole cloth, like his fucking sister.
Yeah, so why can't... Is it only limited to one person?
You only understand, they don't understand that defeating an antagonist when you have memory manipulating powers, you have to really plan around that, because that can break the bank when it comes to the weight of the story, where you can just go oh, I know you're the villain now? You've just forgotten the last week. You don't even know who I am. So now the last thing you're going to see is a guy walking up to you, shanking you with a fucking broadsword.
Yeah. Why wasn't this thought through?
Most of these college kids die. What?
That's just every college. That was my school.
Yeah. I mean...
My school's retention rate through the second year is what is it, there's something 10% drops or transfers.
See, I've been doing the same thing with me, but me and my friend are wondering how much effect we can mess with this universe. In short, it's quite fun, but quite frustrating. There is a lot to fix on a fundamental level in RWBY that is just needs tweaking. And I really do, although I do hate that people are like, oh, it just doesn't work at all. And I'm like, no, RWBY can work. It's just that they didn't take the time to actually sit down and refine what they had put into the system. They just kept adding on top of it.
Yeah, I know you haven't seen the H Bomber Guy video, but essentially his thesis at the end is that what happened is they're trying to just do things that they think are cool, but have no context or knowledge or framework of why those things are cool. So they're like, hey, this worked in this show, let's do it in our show, but it's not the exact same show. and it's not the exact same characters, so it doesn't work. Like, he mentions, like, oh, John is basically the Sokka character, because the guy with no powers is cool, but like, they forgot that Sokka had character growth, and John doesn't really have character growth. He just gets better.
Oh, that's a good question. Can Yatsu just erase Salem's memories? Probably.
Yeah.
When's the next part?
I wish Salem didn't exist so badly.
Yeah, I don't like Salem either.
I have a thing where I really don't like it when there's, like, some greater, like, super big bad behind the actual big bad, because then it just keeps getting more, like, insane. Like, RWBY had, like, 5 villains in Volume 3, right? Or, no, not 5, but...
No, it had 5.
Like, even...
It had... it had Roman, Neo, Cinder, Emerald, Mercury.
Yeah. And then Salem put it at the end.
Oh,
now
that's
you
6.
have...
Adam.
Oh, yeah. Now, like, think about, like, where we are right now. The White Fang, I guess, still exists. There have to be, like, sects that follow Adam. They have to be out there, reasonably. So that's, like, a potential background villain, but in the foreground we have the Elysian Army, we have Salem, and both those have, like, this entire, like, goon squad within them.
Where is someone just asked Ryan Carson when's the next Fixing RWBY? Like I said, I'm still working on it. I'm about halfway through it right now. I mean, the idea of the big bad going up a step to, like, Salem. My thing is, I think they jumped to Salem too quickly.
Yeah, I think it could work, but the jump was insane, because you went from, okay, Roman's just a crook, plain through and through. Adam is a leader of a corrupt and violent, or, like, revolutionary force. Okay. Cinder was working with both of them, and we didn't know why. And then then things were coming together, and they were like, oh yeah, by the way.
Yeah, by the way, there's this weird spider butt lady.
Would ask what I think about Thanos. I never watched anything past, like, the original Adventures when I was 12, so I don't really have an opinion. I
would definitely recommend going through the MCU. There are some not so great ones, but, like, believe me, especially Infinity War. Holy crap, that film is fantastic.
I have a senior year of college to get through, but maybe.
Yeah.
That's a lot of films.
Yeah, the memories do eventually come back, but, like, it doesn't matter if you erase, like, a week of time for someone and it takes a week for it to come back. Just shank them.
My thing is that they find a way to just drop Salem to the bottom of the ocean.
I think they're going to shoot her into space.
That works too. Like, either where it's just a completely untouchable, like, nobody's going to get there.
Like, what if you fired her into the sun? This is always the question, is, like, the characters that, like, have, like, massive regeneration and can come back from anything. Like, launch them into the sun. Literally a ball of fire and neutron energy that would just, like, evaporate anything that comes proximal to it. Can you come back from that? Is it possible?
I don't know. I always felt like immortality definitely has a limit. Like if you go to the sun, you are constantly going to be bombarded by, like, 18 different ultra-fatal things. You have the gravity, the pressure, the convection system of the sun, the radiation,
the lack of oxygen.
The lack of oxygen. Like, there's so many things you could go through.
I mean, George Lucas's Star Wars didn't start out the way it is now, and over time they cut some fat to make the movies work. Hence why Star Wars works now. Star Wars is actually a great example of this, because Star Wars is just a mishmash of random shit that George Lucas put together. It has Kurosawa films, it has Flash Gordon in it, it has B-movie garbage in it. Like, it was literally just, hey, I think these are cool things, let me put them into a plot. But
he had a plot to put them into.
Well, actually, apparently it was a mess on the editing floor until his wife came in and fixed it. So it's like, pull a JoJo. I don't care about JoJo.
Salem would make a great SCP, or a common rider wizard. Would the Sword of Destruction kill Salem? We don't know what it does.
Someone asked what our favorite RWBY villains are. What's yours?
Roman.
Yeah. Roman, Neo, Mercury, and Emerald. I think. I wish they were just, like, one group on their own. I wish Cinder wasn't a thing. Like, I wish Salem wasn't a thing. I wish they just kind of worked together.
Yeah, like...
Or, like, Salem can be a thing, but I wish it focused on them. I remember being, like, 15 years old and being like, I hope that Neo and Mercury are just buddies.
That'd be interesting.
Like I wish that they actually did something with, like, the more human side of them.
Oh my god, can you see, like, them teaming up with Fox, and we'd say have Monkey See, Monkey See, Monkey Hear, Monkey Do. Sort of.
I wish they gave Neo a backstory beyond the song screaming, I had a friend, and then he died for 4 minutes. And just using different synonyms to describe that. Learn how to songwrite! That's not what it is!
Let's see. When you mentioned dropping Salem into the ocean, I thought of the movie The Old Guard. Never heard of it. Let's be honest, it's just Roman because of the hair, right? No, that man had, like, actual personality. And was legitimately, like... He had his own moral system. He had his own philosophy system. The man was successful on his own before getting wrapped up with Salem. The man's cool.
Also, there's a couple things. Do Mercury and Emerald even count? They have no way to them. Why Mercury? It doesn't do anything. But they could have. That's the thing in RWBY. They almost did. They almost did.
No, leave Neo alone. She's just fine. Don't ruin her. Yeah, that's why I'm worried about Volume 8. Volume 7 already literally decked her down a notch by giving her that one stupid punch from fucking Oscar.
I love when RWBY does this thing where, like, a character's super difficult to defeat, but they have, like, one shot where someone just punches them, and then, like, you can't take them seriously for the rest of the show. Once I read a fanfiction where Neo couldn't speak because she was, like, told not to speak when she was little during a home invasion, and she just, I don't know, like, internalized that, and she just doesn't speak by choice. Maybe she was... Why does it always have to be a tragic backstory? I kind of wish they told us, like, she's just born like that. You know, some people are just born mute. They, like, don't... They don't have, like, the proper tongue muscles or something.
Thing is, if Salem lived in space, her body would change in terms of her height because no gravity.
Long Salem! Yes!
Wacky, wavy, inflatable tube-arm Salem will be more than just an illusion. And yes, I loved him because of the hair, too. The hair was awesome. Alright. Well, let's wind it down. Thank you all so much for joining us. Please be sure to follow both myself and Molly on Twitter. Me at Raymond McNeil with an underscore in between the names. And Molly at... which did you want to promote?
Out of Sync. Guys, I post there, like, once a week.
It's good stuff.
If I get more followers, I guess I will post more. It's not my main account.
Also, please, if you're interested, please try and support me on Patreon. For $1 or more, you get access to the Team Frostbite Discord server, where I, Fatman Falling, Dashi Lee, and occasionally Molly, she's not in there right now, but she can be in there whenever she wants to be.
By popular request, I can
by
return.
Popular request. We all hang out and have a good time and interact with our fans on the regular. Additionally, what was it? Additionally, I'll give you a shout out in the newest video for new subscribers, new patrons. Anything else to mention? I have a book on Amazon, Forged Within Flame. Sorry, it's a collection of short stories, available now in digital and in print on Amazon. And I think that's it. Fixing RWBY Part 6, Volume 4, Episodes 5 through 9 are still in the works. I'll get them out as soon as I can. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll catch you all